the Association of Towns and Townships for just about 5 years now. And I thank you for asking me to come in and more than likely answer your questions regarding the Rural Access Infrastructure Fund. I would like to give a little kudos to our Association President Dustin Lystach and Vice President Tom Bisick, who've been working on this really hard since 2018 to try to get funding to address small structures, which many believe to have appear to be small bridges and large culverts with at least 16 square foot opening on township roads and county secondary roads. So we've had success. 2021, we received $6 million, and $3 million of that was earmarked towards conducting the inventory, which just was completed here at the end of May of this year. So all the counties then received a distribution into their funds for the Rural Access Infrastructure Grant. The remaining $3 million from 2021, then an additional $8.33 million of this, which was awarded to townships to be distributed over the next 3 years of $25 million total. So this current funding will take the Rural Access Infrastructure granting till the year 2025, with 8.33 available for each of those years. I'll give you a little bit of the statistics. If you haven't had a chance to review the DOT website identifying all of the tally obstructions across the state, there were 9,298 culverts on township and secondary roads that were falling under the category of the large culverts. Of those, 1,330 are in critical to poor condition, and 1,080 are on full maintenance roads, of which 909 are townships. Then going into the small structures or bridges, there were 514 small structures on township and county secondary roads. 170 are in critical to poor condition, and 130 are on full maintenance roads. 122 of them are on the townships. At this time, your county should have received the 5-year plans from the townships. The deadline was to have been the end of August. I know there may have been some falling in a little bit after that deadline, just simply because of the opportunity to get the information out and help townships figure out how to fill in the blanks. So there's a little bit of a learning curve involved with that. As you may be aware, there are paper applications and there are electronic applications. I will say, if you've had a chance to review the electronic application format, it's fantastic. The DOT did a fantastic job putting that all together. The problem is many are not familiar with using Excel spreadsheets and how to fully make that all function. So there are some questions. How can the county help with some of these matters? The next situation will be the application. So basically, whatever your 5-year plan of that township submitted to you, they will be then applying for their prioritization of those structures, presenting it to you as a county commissioner group and highway superintendent to make determinations of eligibility for your grant. October 31st is the deadline. And then, of course, there's eligibility. I included also the whole codified law, which is 3134-5 in your packet, and it identifies all of the eligibility criteria that one has to review and make sure that they qualify. Then there also is the legislation that identifies the county commissioner's determination of eligibility. So they try to provide as much helpful insight into determining prioritization of small structures. A couple of the things that I felt legislature may not have fully embraced is the number of residences that it provides access to. In rural South Dakota, that isn't always the largest priority. You know, so evaluating some things based upon your own economy in Hand County and the important structures to provide the best return of investment, which might be helping just simply to support agriculture and farm to field or farm to market. A couple other pieces that might be of interest. Some projects may have to be spread out over 2 applications. One maybe would require a H&H study. So can you incorporate that all into the same application? Yes, you certainly can. But if there are excessively large projects, one may say, maybe we'll do the H&H study this year and award the project after we determine what your actual project cost may be. So that's something for consideration that we found out could possibly be broken into, you know, 2 applications if it works that way. And your county has the authority to develop your process. One thing I learned in visiting with another director from our association, will be doing a presentation. One county compiled their application screening to consist of a couple of county commissioners, the Office of Emergency Management, or the Emergency Management Director, the auditor, highway superintendent. So yes, it could be just all county commissioners, but I thought that configuration also was kind of an interesting approach to this too. So you have the ability at the county level to kind of arrange your best process for this. A couple things I will say. We are delighted to have the Rural Access Infrastructure Fund in its current form, but it's not in a perfect form. And so we will be pursuing legislation to try to modify some of the restrictive language that's currently in the bill, but in its current form is how we've adopted it, and we're moving forward. We hope to have good results with that. So we encourage you to really utilize this fund, because if we don't really utilize the fund, it may not appear to legislation that it's valuable. And in reviewing the structures for Hand County, there's a huge need. There's a huge need. They don't always, at this point in time, qualify. But we'll see what we can do. Because pretty much I don't see anything necessarily coming through in necessarily really good condition. But fair condition is seeming to be the most prominently overall condition. With that being said, I guess I'll take questions.
I have a quick one, Terry. 3114.7 talks about the 500 threshold. When is the last time that was updated?
It hasn't been for a number of years, so it was identified that, right? I don't know that off the top of my head. I just know that that is one of the other options that a township has available to them if they don't qualify for rural access infrastructure fund. No, and it has been a negotiation tool for our association to try to modify that before this rural access infrastructure fund came to light. It was certainly a negotiation tool that was used to try to get counties to participate with townships, but honestly, that negotiation was not going to get money into the county's budget to actually be able to address. The true problem was getting enough money to the counties to be able to participate. No, that I was talking. Well, I will say, okay, because there always is this little addendum I can put on there. There is a handful of counties who have really good budgets. And so does this fund really help meet their needs, the Rural Access Infrastructure Fund? Half a dozen of them have a great plan in place to work with their townships. But I will say it was becoming an issue that I heard when I first took over this job, that there was not enough money in the county budgets necessarily to assist to the magnitude that was being asked. So, go ahead.
Two questions, Terry. I've addressed this twice at Oahe district meetings about you either have to have an opt-out in place or have your road maintenance tax maxed out at 50 cents per thousand evaluation. But there was no number on that opt-out. I said, so literally a township could have a $500 opt-out in place as opposed to the road maintenance tax. We're like, oh yeah, well, probably we better address that. And I don't think, as far as I know, I don't think.
I guess why would one have to address that? Why would there be a requirement for more restrictive use of maintaining the goal, of achieving the goal of replacing a culvert that's in disrepair? And it's providing, based on prioritization of the county commissioner's view of what that road and that structure provides for drainage. It's a drainage issue.
Yep. So what you're saying is just do away with those requirements for the townships.
We'll have to negotiate.
But
Because the odds are it will not go away.
yeah.
But it is negotiable.
But my complaint there is if you have to have that road maintenance tax maxed out at 50 cents per thousand.
Okay, that's an interpretation issue.
Our township uses that, and we did just this spring, move it from 40 cents to 50 cents, because I could see that was gonna become a requirement.
Okay, but I
But
will,
there's another township that has a $500 opt-out, they qualify just the same, but they're not being anywhere near as responsible for themselves with, as I think if they're gonna use that wording, my recommendation to the legislature, if they're gonna use that wording, that opt-out has to equal at least 50 cents per thousand evaluation, if they're gonna mandate that 50 cents per thousand evaluation. And somebody, I don't remember, somebody at that Hawaii district meeting said, oh no, you have to have both of them in place. You have to have the road maintenance tax plus an opt-out. I said, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
okay. Running some various different numbers, you look at different budgets. Okay. It's an interpretation of the way the law is applied. Why in the world would it make sense to apply a full 50 cents per thousand opt-out if you read the way that law is written? Just read the way that law is written. But I cannot tell you how to interpret it. That is up to you as county commissioners to interpret that. Impose an annual property tax levy of 50 cents per thousand pursuant to 10.12.28.2. Okay, that's addressing which particular levy title is being addressed and applying it pursuant to 10.12.28.2, or impose a tax levy opt-out pursuant to 10.13.36. That one is addressing $3 per thousand. Are you going to mandate $3 per thousand?
That law does mandate $3 per thousand?
Up to.
Up to.
And that's the way that the Secondary Road Capital Improvement Fund, which is the technical title for it, property tax levy of 50 cents per thousand pursuant to, that one allows the townships up to 50 cents per thousand. So this interpretation, because it wasn't clarified, and we wanted it clarified, and there was kind of behind the scenes events that occurred that did not land in our favor, it was pulled, and it was not corrected. So I cannot and I will not go on record interpreting that. That is your charge as county commissioner.
And they did have that about how many residences were served. I agree with what you said, that some of these roads with a farm to market truck traffic, that bridge might be far more important than cars going to a residence. So I think that should be discretionary
And
determination.
it is, it absolutely is, and I'm very proud that they did leave that discretion to county commissioners to determine what's best for your county.
Okay, second question, I've never got a clear answer on this. How many years can we put that money away? Do we have to try to get this money spent every year? Do we put it away? If we've got a really critical bridge somewhere, and 1 year's rate funding isn't going to come close to fixing that problem for the county's budget or the township's budget.
What would you say are you looking at for the cost of a structure?
I'm saying if it's what do we, $71,000 a year, I think it's what we're doing, isn't it?
You had 290.
295,000.
That's what you received this first tranche.
For this year? Okay, that, I was.
But getting back to, I think what your question is, whatever is unused rolls over to the next year, rolls over to the next year, and then there is a reversion clause of after, 4 years of unused goes back to the DOT.
Okay.
Who's supposed to make any prioritization decisions with regard to replacing the work in our township? So the county commission?
Yeah.
With our designee for that purpose, Jeff, does he need to tell us what?
You should also have an application to present before you, because that is not given preference over any township application.
Shouldn't be.
No, and so it should not be automatically that assumption that something on a county secondary road will be done. It is viewed just like everybody else, and should also have an application filled out to present for priority.
Should it actually have less priority?
I can't say that. Part of the negotiation, honestly, to get this thing passed is to include county secondary roads. Because county secondary roads also support rural agriculture. They just don't happen to currently have townships within them. So it is a charge, to the county to try to be, fair and equitable in how they apply.
Okay. Any other questions?
So the 2023 distribution, when you have on this list, it shows is 295 for 23, so is that then the same 24, 25, or
No.
less for 20?
It will be less, because that includes an extra $3 million from the first distribution. And then I don't know how many others are gonna hurry up and get some structures included that didn't do full reporting. So we'll see. I also heard some interesting other things going on besides, so we'll see what numbers we come up with next year.
You're saying just when you think we've got it all figured out, something's gonna change?
Yeah, there's all kinds of gray areas currently that, that did address. But it's all about, bringing infrastructure back into some level of, maintenance that addresses the shortcomings that we currently have. So. All right, well, truly, I take phone calls from county people. If they have challenges or issues dealing with their townships or whatever the case, I encourage you to call me. You and I speak on occasion, but I also would like to encourage, when you have your county meeting, auditors here, but I don't believe I've been invited to speak to townships. Do you have township meetings on occasion? Well, do you have meetings in which I'm sorry?
There are annual township meetings, is that what you're talking about?
Do you have annual meetings here which all your townships gather? In invite township? Because I feel like some of your townships do not probably get proper information or enough information. And I'd like to encourage you, I guess, now, Mr. Auditor, when you, at some point, I go to Redfield and I present for Spain, It doesn't take anything for me to stop by here and do a presentation. If there is a meeting in which you host
Yep.
and could invite townships to attend, maybe your weed board, when you pass out your books, do you pass out your books, or do you just have them come to your office?
Actually, they pick them up in the assessor's office, but our two assessors ago, John, used to hold a meeting every spring, usually in January, February, in that neighborhood.
Sure.
And we've talked about doing that again. So
Sure.
it would be awesome if we don't
Yeah, because I
participate.
think especially when we have some of these important things that roll out, I personally called some of the townships that had like the really failing structures and
Yeah.
so probably best you get your 5-year plan in, and they were kind of willing once they knew what they were supposed to do.
How many of Van County's townships are now member of townships?
Not enough. Not enough. And I think part of that might be because I don't do presentations here. And COVID was a big part of it for 2 years.
I swear to God, the newsletter is worth what our township pays for a membership fee. There is so much valuable information in the townships newsletter. Yes. I mean, we have made so many changes on our township board. Things that we didn't know were available, or that we should be doing, or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, and, we try to keep everybody in
You do a very good job.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
Well, I have some answers for questions that after.
Sure. Actually, one is, you can go, is Sonia not coming?
No, we called Fuller to hold on. She's gonna meet them.
Oh, okay. She's okay. Go ahead.
All right, so those line items that you were asking about, the first one that's over by $4,000 was our Zerker. We paid half of it in advance and half of it when everything was done. Well, the first half was in October, November, and by the time it was done, it was in February. So that came out of this year's budget, and it was actually carryover, so that was, couldn't do anything about it, but it was originally supposed to come out of last year's budget, so that went over. The vehicle-free maintenance, mine is over on that one, and we did get new tires for that, but they were also reimbursed, so it doesn't show that, it just shows the expense. Those were completely reimbursed. Obviously, the 3 gas bills, that gas is really hurt us this year, right? The K9 went over with the original with buying the K9. And again, for our travel and conference, we ended up going over because a lot of it was Brandon going all the way down to Alabama.
And then probably his state.
And then his staying in Sioux Falls. So those went over. Like I said, that those canine shirts, those are all paid for. All that money that we spent was paid for by the donation. So
I checked that revenue thing, there's not that much in there for those.
it will be. If we got it.
You have it on hand
Yes.
over there.
Right. We have completed the transaction. There's another one, $1,600 for under sheriff expended gifts, and that was for our community awareness meeting, and that was all again off of a grant. So that money was reimbursed before that was donated for us to do that, but it shows it as an expense, it doesn't show that it was covered. So those are all. But yeah, in the grand scheme of it, we're 65% over budget, and all our major expenses are early in the year, so we're in really good shape. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Do you want to do that? Sonia, do you want to try to get our public hearing right at 4? No, what I'd like to do though is talk about these two guys from the townships and their applications, because none of us know the processes other than you give it to Jeff, right? Well, I mean, from my standpoint, I know you guys tell me to issue a check to so-and-so for how much, but do any of us know what happens between the point where they produce it, turn it in, and you guys review it? That's what I was hoping to get through before she left, but she left.
Well, this is on that rate.
Yep.
We're just gonna go through them, I guess, issue. This is all filled out?
I have no idea. Can you show them what it looks like? When she sent me that email, that's the first time I've seen that.
Well, this is all new to us too, so.
She said the deadline was October 31st for applications, or October.
Well, I thought the application period was.
The 5-year plan was due
Last week, wasn't it?
right? But the applications could be submitted until it says October 31st.
Yeah.
And then we can administer as much or as little as we feel necessary of the dollars we're gonna get from the way I remember it.
I thought that'd be invited to the end of August. And it sounded to me like at the end of October, we were gonna prioritize and find out who's gonna get awarded the project.
Plans, 5-year plans. How many 5-year plans did you get?
Well, I got 4 in hand and there's a couple on emails that you got those, I couldn't
No.
find them. I was told they emailed them, but. So I had 6, 4 in hand.
How did the townships receive?
I have no idea. I honestly don't. I've been to 3 different meetings, and they talk about the program, but nobody talks about the mechanics behind the program.
Suppose they got it, mention anything from her? I mean,
You guys are here, how'd you get them?
who's they got?
I mean, I put everything they gave me on the website, I created specifically for townships and county. And I mean, it's everything I know goes in there. But
Is that where you got all your information?
I got my forms actually from Jeff.
I think I handed out 3 and somebody else was pretty good on for that township had their application. The rest of the stuff we picked up.
How did you know to come pick it up?
I had to go to the South Dakota Association website and explain everything out there on how to do it.
So you were proactive.
was that after you talked to me or before?
After talking to you.
Sweet.
So, I guess the way it's worded here, we take those 6, we need to get those 6 5-year plans. Probably have, well, we review realistically what's valid, what isn't, then we got.
Jeff's gonna have to review it.
Right. But we don't have to.
Well, actually, what they told him, because I've heard people say this, is he's just a funnel. You guys review him. Isn't that what you were told?
We're gonna have to trust Jeff for recommendation as to what needs to be fixed first, right?
Priority wise, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say.
Did she just say that would be expected? Did she just say that? No, did she say that?
I was just listening to the part where she said I didn't tell
It's relatively easy this first year because I think we got enough money to fund all of them. Right.
I guess,
So
asking
basically,
the question.
what we gotta do first is, we gotta get the 5-year plan submitted, right?
they have.
We have to make sure they're eligible before we can.
So whoever submitted one. Do we have to submit someone? I don't know.
Nobody knows. That's part of the process.
So, okay,
I guess they submitted to us.
The first 10 words of
Well, that means it doesn't have to be submitted to the state, then, right?
No, it does, it comes to the commission.
It says, we have provided our township in report to the county auditor.
There you go.
sounds to me like they, we review
That's what I was told.
The other thought is, not that maybe not all of them are valid, but we don't have to spend all the money. So like, if there's some of those structures that are like, well, they're really not that bad, maybe, I don't know. Then, do you not fund a couple and hold over some of that money for next year when hopefully more people submit a 5-year plan? I don't know. Or do you reward the ones that were diligent enough to go out and do it?
Well, I'm assuming if they're going through the 5-year plan and doing all that, whatever structure they want,
Probably
needs to do that.
Probably need to do that.
I don't think this is, we want a really nice call.
So do we decide that, is it a 1-for-1 replacement, if it's a, if it's an 18-inch culvert, does an 18-inch culvert go back? Or can you say, I really like a 24-inch culvert there?
This only addresses,
Right.
16 square feet of opening, doesn't it?
16 square feet of opening, which is a 5-foot culvert, or large, that's 20 feet. But you can't not put a larger one or a smaller one, you have to put equivalent.
Otherwise, if
And
you
if
want
you're going to vary from that, you need to have the A&R.
Right.
What's the total value of the requests that have been made? We got 292 below. How much is that?
It's right close to that. It's right close to that 295.
It is right in there?
Yeah.
And then do we have, is it our responsibility to, like, there's a lot of unknowns in this, that you're referring to, like that, they actually get it done then, and done properly?
I think putting it in is not gonna be a problem, I think the bigger issue would be who's gonna order them. Somebody needs to get them ordered right away, because they're a 6 months to a year wait. And we need to get them ordered. We got a bill, because we need it.
Well, okay, you've got 4 in hand and you figure you've got 2
Two
out.
more out, yeah.
Get the 2 out, lay here on the counter, they've been submitted.
Yeah.
That's our first thing that we have to cross.
Yeah.
They're submitted. Once they're submitted, then we move on to selection. We don't have to select till
October 30th.
well, get the 6 here, go through them, see what we need. And if we can fund all 6 of them, or whatever it is, and they need pipe ordered, get it ordered.
Do we have any stockpile?
No, we don't.
Do we have these dollars? We don't get them till
No,
23rd.
it's here.
It is here.
So should the township order culverts, or should it take it on the other culverts?
Do you get a break by ordering with a group?
No, you same price as township, you same price as you, they're all bid the same.
If it's going through a project that they're gonna get paid for,
Yeah.
they should, but if it's, a problem on getting them delivered to wherever they're gonna be, they can drop them at the county.
Yeah.
Or will they drop them right where?
Most of the time, they'll drop them where they need to.
Okay, well, if they're gonna drop them, but I think the townships, most of the townships ain't gonna have money enough to buy all this stuff. And wait for reimbursement.
There'll be a cost share on this deal too, right?
I'm just thinking, if we're gonna write the checks, maybe we ought to have the orders.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
if they had the money, they
I was
would.
told we don't have extra audits for the contract.
That's the point of this funding is.
We give them a township check when they have their contract.
So the money's here.
Off their estimate, or after they get done,
After they award it to the contractor, it goes care of the rest of it.
or the check written.
To the township.
Well, I'm just
After
wondering how
the
they're,
receipt comes in, or off their estimate.
so we've already got.
That-
I'd rather have you sign it first.
We don't even have to
So
do
written
it,
check.
and then, well, spend it.
Because if that's the case, they're gonna have to pay for it.
Well, I'm just trying to think, if down the road, they're gonna want an accounting, and they're gonna say, well, the township should pay for that.
they have to pay for 20% of culvert and installation, like final product.
20% of it.
So it's 20% of the sum necessary to complete the project.
So it'd be the contractor, the culvert, whatever it requires,
And
gravel.
that's township or county share, so it's got to come from township or county.
You know, these proposals that you got, are they complete with the contractor and stuff figured into the proposal, or?
I have one complete. These guys went to contractor, and got prices, I called True North on a couple of them, they called a couple contractors and got estimates. And I got quotes that I said,
Don't we have to get a lot of this stuff?
See, honestly, what they told me was that the townships do everything. And all we do is write a check. And you guys just simply review the application. So like they did, when you call a contractor and say, we need an estimate on this, this, and this, just like they did with FEMA.
That would make more sense to me. It'd be like us as a county, when we get state or federal funds, they're just writing us a check. They're not ordering us culverts and lighting up contractors for other things.
And they would have to pay for the culvert when they order it anyway, do they? Not gonna get it. So,
They could order it and say, bill us.
yeah, really.
Well,
But why would they bill us?
you know,
They're the ones that are money.
well,
Our job is to give the townships.
we're just the administrator of the money.
That's all we are. Which is the stupid part, because there's no instructions for us, none.
I guess I would caution just writing checks to townships, because you need to know that structure got fixed.
Yeah, sure, and they would have to submit us a bill.
As far as I know, we have to present you the bill after it's completed. And then Doug can write it.
That's just regular check.
Minus your 20%.
Yeah.
So we know what the total cost is.
That makes the most sense.
They would.
That's where the industry has, county gets paid back.
So they do bill, they end up billing to
Billing
The township.
Township.
even though the township doesn't have the money.
Yeah,
We don't have to.
we have the ability to pay them as soon as you approve it. Which means if you approve their project, it's implied that you approve me giving them a, it's a disaster.
Well, are we to kind of determine our own borders here and say, well, we'll give you 50% of the money, so you can pay for the culvert, and then after you get.
I was hoping that's what she would answer.
No. We didn't ask right questions.
Pardon me?
Never saw them.
You want her to come back?
Yeah, there's some difference in that.
Well, I get,
I don't know what she's gonna answer either.
no, she don't know.
You can say it's at your discretion.
Yeah, you can see also, my view, for as the codified law, and it's your interpretation.
Well, let's do it the way you're suggesting. Are you?
That's what I do.
Yes.
I would say for us as a board, we just determine, is there a need? Have they filled out the paperwork? Are they able to provide the 20%? And then if we approve that application, I mean, we have to wait till all the applications are in.
Well,
I guess you have to wait till all the applications are in, but we only got all those, right?
I'd say yes, but it's over.
And I think that's good, I got 4 I'm waiting on 2, and I'll find out
We
where
would
they
have
are.
to wait until at least the 31st.
I think once we get them, we could.
Make a determination.
But I mean, the deadline is the 31st of October.
For applications.
Yeah,
If they have.
if they have the 5-year plan.
But if they haven't submitted one by now, they're not gonna submit one, so there's not gonna be an applicant.
They're not gonna submit one.
Then we'll sit.
So, yeah, if they haven't submitted the 5-year plan, then.
But we have to be on the statement.
For next year.
Yeah.
Well, and
So, with their application, the 5-year plan is with their application.
I got, yeah, well,
They maybe haven't made all
that's
of
not
it.
all of them, not here, the 5-year plan, but, yeah, and the criteria, I'm not all
Well,
over.
from what I gathered from her, of all of her talking, you know,
amount of dollars that Can County's gonna get, she wants us to spend.
That's what's for.
And I mean, it's there to spend, there's no sense trying to save a little money here and there, because it's there to get rid of it. And most of these, if you start turning money back, you're not ever gonna see it.
The deadline is passed for the 5-year plan, right?
Yes.
How many 5-year plans do we have?
He said six.
Six.
Well,
It sounds like he's got 4 and 2 halves.
He's got six.
Arguably, they could claim that what they submitted for proposal is a 5-year plan. Right. They could say that constitutes a 5-year.
that's kind of where, kind of right.
Okay, so let's give them till the 31st.
No, they've got their 5-year plan.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we should, the cutoff date is that second date,
Yeah, the second date.
October 15th.
31st.
Yeah.
I'll turn these in.
Not long.
Yeah, why don't
You have one sheet, and you get all six of them. And then bring them in, and then we can award them.
So next meeting, we'll have to have a agenda item for.
Because you guys want to get this done.
Good.
Good.
They're digging that now. They're digging that now, they're just waiting for it.
Okay, well,
Technically speaking, instead of each county should explain the application process of each county.
Well, our guy has for us. Yeah, well done. Haven't you? Anybody's interested? You guys-
I've done it across the counter too, I give them a book, and I try and help Dan as best I can. I don't have enough information to give them an intelligence.
They've been instructed to advise.
and it's gonna be a learning curve. Next year, hopefully, more people get on these things.
Right.
That's all I can say.
We're literally gonna have townships that are gonna come in here and say, wait a minute, I didn't know anything.
Right? Yep.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Guarantee it.
So, okay, moving on. Now, do we have? You wanna try to get Sonia on here, or are we gonna try to go move her further down the list?
Well, you can do your awarding of your gravel crushing if you'd like, while I get her lined up.
Yeah.
Somebody can take notes for me while you're on the phone.
You wanna hit on that quick?
King's crushing.
yeah. So, I would request the meeting back up a little bit. We've got some township officers here that look really confused. We'll have an answer for them next month, is that what we're?
You know, well, we're gonna look at the 5-year plan next month. And then we'll have to determine what constitutes, how many there are on there, and we'll have to figure out what do we have, what the estimates are.
So,
The amount, I don't know, can't say much more than that.
we have applications for everybody that submitted a 5-year plan. I mean, do we have somebody that submitted a 5-year plan that we don't have their application?
If they have an application, 5-year plan, I have one before the other came together.
So there's no way we can get any more applications.
I would say, wow,
I mean, none of them will be,
Right.
yeah.
and it looks to me like the 6 we've got right now, we got.
So we can make,
Otherwise, we're gonna start, you don't get it, and you do.
Right.
but we can make a decision in the next meeting before the 31st deadline.
Well, if they're 5-year plans, if they're not just like we wanna replace this bridge, you know, we need information. I assume the application is separate. Right? Like
There's really no formula for their 5-year plan. Maybe their 5-year plan is just to get this one thing.
Okay.
And that would have to find out what it's like.
Yeah, that's about the only thing was, if they did an opt-out or did that.
Other than that, it's just, we have a project, so some of them said, we have no other structures to be replaced at this time. But we think 5 years.
That's
about 5 years now.
That's kind of how it's gonna be. A lot of the townships, they got one thing they really want to get fixed. They get it fixed, they're good.
Sorry.
And it may be such a thing if we get more counties coming in, the first counties that, our first townships, that we have awarded money to go to the bottom of the list and let newer ones coming on get funded. You know what I mean?
I think we still have to determine priority of.
Well,
additional
you
structure.
do, but you also have to kind of work this out.
Yeah,
I mean, but if the money's there, fund
yeah, that's the reason the legislature don't make it is,
well, they didn't make it difficult for them to get the money yet. They didn't make it very clear how to go about it.
yeah,
I don't think we can be involved at all.
Me.
By anybody. Because there's some absolute reaction or guidance.
So you think you're okay with that for now?
Yeah, do you want to come back for the next meeting, or what meeting would that be?
I don't know.
Rest of the thing?
Honestly, I guess if you have submitted everything to Jeff, I don't really know, I guess, that we need you here, per se, I mean, if you want to be, but, I mean, we have to go through them, look how many there are, in my opinion. If there's 10 of them that need to be, that are requested to be funded, and the estimates are for that or less,
But even at the next meeting, they still have 10 days to deal with that.
Well,
Our next meeting is October 4th.
but they haven't submitted their 5-year plan, their deadline, so we've got.
But we're saying, yeah. We're saying that what they're submitting is.
We're not, we're, other than the 6 that we got, we're probably not gonna get any.
Probably. And as far as I know, there's actually only five townships in our county that qualify, that have a large enough road and bridge and,
Right.
all the qualifications.
Some of them won't, some townships won't qualify.
And there's a lot that don't qualify, or they just don't have the bridge structures to be concerned about.
so, I guess it's gonna be on, we're planning on having it on the agenda, I guess, I would say.
On what we, what day was
The next, it'd be
October 1st.
October 1st.
Fourth.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if you're willing to be here, I think it's great, you know, you have time. I don't know that would be required. I don't know that would be required of you
I don't
either.
think if you miss, it's gonna really hurt you.
I think they learned some more of the conservation.
Yeah.
We kind of, really more of
We can ask.
You'll either
learn more or you need more to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there was somebody, that one meeting, that Hawaii district meeting in here, that said they had to have both an opt-out and
Yes.
a tax, so like, both, and,
I was always under the impression that one or the other.
yeah, that's,
I've been told that at 2 different meetings.
but they're both, it's like, that's.
It's very
one person
explicitly
says that.
says or it can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you're gonna interpret it by completely disregarding what it says.
the English language, yeah.
Right.
We won't give you this answer, we'll promise to do the best we can.
Jeff, the crushing thing quick? Sure. This was all for bids, you got that.
That's the only thing I got.
It's only bid you got, and it seems reasonable, realistic.
Yeah,
For what,
for where things are going, yeah.
if you've worked with these guys before?
I haven't worked with him, but he's been stopping in quite often.
Other people have, it's been okay with it.
I think he's good.
He's a responsible bidder.
Yes.
That's all that's required.
Where are you crushing it?
Roadside. Concrete pile out there.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, discussion of accepting the crushing bid.
And suggest that we let this question get there, last.
Mhm.
we pay for stuff that hasn't been done.
The last one just didn't show up. Which, yeah, cost us.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You want this? Are we the owner?
I believe so.
We be the owner in this case? You want to sign now?
I need to have a sign for that, send it back.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Did you cover all that stuff?
No. You want to go to sign it? Or?
He's got a resignation of an employee to approve. And Jim had a thought on the use of the excise tax from the hog farm. But, yeah,
I had a suggestion before, but my suggestion was, because that has no limitations or timeline, that we set that excise tax aside for 57 roughly, was it?
roughly.
Being there's no timeline and no strings attached to that money. We can set that money aside for emergencies above and beyond our 40% budget surplus, budget carry that we can have on hand. So that was my thought. I guess I expressed that at the last meeting or the meeting before. That being it doesn't affect our 40%. I mean, the statement's clear about that. But go ahead. It's clear that it doesn't affect our 40%. There's no strings attached. There's no timeline.
Our division has to supplement our capital.
No, not under that.
We've got
That's ARPA.
We've got a 618 apartment.
The original thought with this money was to use it to purchase the replacement road readers.
If we're not, let you on.
It'll be a good way just to have some money.
What's the total?
460 something.
Have you heard back on any of our greater stuff?
I called them last week and they were gonna meet on Tuesday and they're probably, but he wasn't too optimistic about the city, Sioux Falls making a final decision as soon as they're out there, you know what I mean?
Like making tweets, whatever I suppose, but I can imagine they're concerned, they can't get new ones either, it's like a lot of this.
And if we're going to, we're gonna have to get it done.
My suggestion was only
Is that what it,
the
not
fact
like
that
you need that?
we can set that money aside for emergencies. It doesn't affect our 40%. But I would rather make sure. And also, we spend it, or a good portion of it on those graders, rather than finance the graders. Because then that means our, financing. But I wasn't suggesting we put it aside and leave it sit forever.
No.
But let's use that ARPA budget for the building and whatever, because I'm sure that has some limitations, restrictions, where this void money does not have any.
I don't think they were restrictions the other one.
ARPA has to be spent by 2026.
Well, right. But on what, we don't really know, other than time.
Others you've already declared that you can spend it on.
But hopefully,
Capital improvement.
hopefully we'll spend it all of it. Yeah. Jeff, you got one more thing yet on the resignation?
Oh, yeah. Last Thursday, come to launch, resign, he's got 2 weeks, get 70 hours. To, take 2 weeks notice. I guess his last day is last Thursday, he's, actually put the day down to 15th was after last day.
15th of, the past 15th or this coming?
This coming 15th, August,
September.
September 15th.
So he's just burning up his vacation.
She's burning everything.
Figure that out. Yeah. Okay.
Are we taking applications for his replacement?
Passed department, I don't make something.
We put it on for the special budget meeting over this month.
If we think, yeah, if you need it, someone, I guess.
I did have a question on those grades, so you're thinking 4, and you were holding down payment for those. I just have this sheet, there's a 5-year plan, it says for down payment for 4 graders, 140,000, and then there's underneath it, down payment for graders, 60,000.
We've been trying to come up with 200,000 in the southern graders, and I've been trying to get the final payment down to $400,000, and that's it. We can get it for 250,000, I don't know. And before all this happened, I'm pretty sure we could, but this time, I don't know what we're gonna do. So it's kind of a waiting game to see what they're gonna want. Ours really works nice too.
Yeah, I gotta say. The way we got this, what's it, so.
That's what we're right. We're having a good day. Hopefully soon, later.
Okay. Is that all you have, Jack? That's all you have.
We have to have a motion to, accept that resignation.
Yes, sir.
We do, I will move to accept that resignation.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Oh, I did have one question for you. When it comes to railroad crossing, the railroad crossing just outside of St. Lawrence, St. Lawrence Road goes out. So who's in charge of it? It's actually between the railroads.
It's the railroad's responsibility, you know, the fix all the ones that don't be hired.
Just the sit down and do the front end.
Yeah. I think the railroad policy is,
I appreciate it.
yeah.
Is this her?
No.
Yeah. You got me to that idea, I can tell you that. Oh.
Okay,
Thank you, Jim.
thanks, Jeff.
You gotta go on that one.
You got to cover the public hearing today.
Well, that was what we talked about, wasn't it? Or do you want to, that's, or is this our 5-year plan?
Yeah.
Different.
That's
Our
county.
county.
Okay. What do you have for changes, I guess, it should be down, sorry,
And just think he's a church.
right?
Oh, wait, you're not Catholic.
Then you don't speak.
The only change we really had, last fall, I was trying to get the same one for all last fall, and I was put it till this spring. We kind of changed everything else online. So, we're not going to accomplish with everyone.
I did. Well, I gave them to them in their agendas.
Oh, okay.
Greg, I think that's the paper guys.
Yeah.
So, we discussed most of this stuff at the budget meeting. We're supposed to have a roll call sheet, I'm not really.
Sign up sheet.
I'm not sure.
I'll have it in a minute. Dan's here.
I got a sheet.
We can have her sign it.
Do you need a motion or any change, or just showing that?
I think if the motion is approved, then I'll have to sign the application. I've got the application.
I'll make that motion.
Certification,
So a motion and a second?
Just to certify the 5-year, the revised 5-year plan.
Yes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. I think that's it.
Right? All right.
I'll sign it. We all do?
We haven't had it for 4:15. Now, the budget one? Haven't had it.
Or thereafter.
Yep. Yep, I didn't assign at the time, because I knew that.
I didn't notice. You were there. There you go. That'll be pretty away.
You gonna call us on yet? You ready?
Yeah. Let's get it.
This is gonna be Roger Risty.
We have something.
We need to talk to him, you gotta kind of talk towards the phone.
Thank you for calling this
Hold
message.
it.
Please choose from one of the following options. You may press 0 at any time to reach the operator. For Roger Risty, press 1.
Roger, it's Doug DeVore.
Hi, Dr. Moore, how are you, sir?
Good. I got 5 commissioners and 2 guests listening to you.
Good. I'll try to keep it clean then.
Now, because it's not gonna be on the TV, you'll have to look at the attachments that are in there. Okay, Roger, the floor is yours.
Yep.
All right, does everybody have the handouts? Let's start with the dental plan. Now, we've gone through this previously when we were there, when we were there just before the big storm. Or just after the big storm, the tornado came through and everything. That's how I remember the date and the time, so. But anyway, let's look at the dental first. You're currently with Delta Dental, and you've got a $50 deductible with an annual maximum of $1,000. And you're paying $37 a month for a single, two-party is $70, and family is $110. We looked at various carriers, but the ones that we liked the best were with a company called Standard Insurance. And just looking at the plan design itself, both of them have a $50 deductible, but instead of a $1,000 annual max, like your Delta Dental, one of the options is a $1,500 annual max, and the other one is $1,750. Now, the reason why we increased it from 1,000, what your current was, is because when we were at that meeting, one of the commissioners made the comment, well, $1,000 isn't that much anymore. And you're absolutely right. $1,000 has been the standard probably for the last 25 years, and it just has not changed. It has not gone up. But meanwhile, expenses have. And that's why we're suggesting you increase it to either 1,500 or maybe that 1,750 level. Everything else is going to be pretty much the same as you go down the lines from preventive to basic to major services. Now, with the standard, however, they have a benefit that your current plan does not have, and it's called Max Builder. And you'll see that about 4 or 5 lines from the bottom of the page. And what the Max Builder does is it rolls over a portion of the unused benefit from year to year. So your annual maximum will actually increase on an ongoing basis should you maintain that threshold. Okay, so let's look at the middle one, the $1,500 annual max benefit. The threshold is $500. If an employee has less than $500 worth of utilization in a planned year, then $250 will roll over to the following year to increase that maximum. You can, over the course of 4 years, annual maximum from $1,500 to $2,500. So you can increase it by an additional $1,000 to $250 increment as long as you maintain that threshold of $500 of utilization per year. So it is possible to build that annual max up to as much as $2,500. You'll see that the price for that plan is about the same as your current single rate, $37 versus $37.80. The two-party rate is $70.74. However, anybody with a family on there is going to be about $25 a month more expensive. But with that said, you've got substantially more benefit available under that plan. Now, if you look at the next one, it's going to be exactly the same thing, except the annual max, instead of $1,500, is $1,750. And if you look at the max builder down there, you have the ability to increase that by another $1,200. So almost $3,000 worth of benefits could be built up over the course of a 4-year period of time. But again, the rates reflect that additional benefit also. Those are the two alternatives we're looking at in lieu of Delta Dental. Standard Insurance uses the Americas network. The Americas is a large company based out of Lincoln, Nebraska. They actually did the benefits for the state of South Dakota at one time, so they're a good, solid, reputable company, and that's the dental network that Standard uses.
How wide is that network?
It's fairly extensive. For your area, I can pull up the geographical location for your area, but an employee does not have to go to a network provider and can still receive services. So if their doctor currently is not in network, they can still use their doctor and receive the same benefits I just went through. The only thing is that benefits would be paid at the 90th percentile of reasonable and customary for non-network dentists. So what does that mean? It means that 9 out of every 10 dentists, on average, will adhere to the payment schedule that you have in front of you there. That one dentist out of 10 may charge a little bit more, and there could be what they call balance forward billing. Does it happen? Yes, it does. Does it happen very often? No, it doesn't. But there's a 10% chance that it could. So if the dentist is not in the Americas network, they can still go there, they can still receive the same benefits I just talked about. It's just that 1 out of 10 times there might be a slight balance forward bill.
Is it possible for you to check whether or not the Miller Dental Clinic is a part of the network?
I can check it out for you this afternoon yet and let them know, but I won't be able to do that on the spot right now. Miller Dental Clinic. I'll have an answer to you before 5 o'clock.
Okay, it happens to be temporarily closed, but it might be almost.
That won't matter, I can go online and pull it up.
Okay.
So, are there any questions on the dental?
No.
Based on the meeting we had when we were there last June, we were trying to increase the benefits and still maintain the price. And I think we came up with that alternative for you.
Roger, I've got a question. Dice Financial gave us a proposal too. In their proposal, it talks about a max keeper, but you're talking about a max builder. Is that the same thing?
Yeah,
Any different?
it's the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Same thing. What carrier were they looking at?
The standard.
Oh, Standard Insurance also? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
The only difference that I see really is you're talking about a $50 deductible and higher limits. They were a $25 deductible. So,
Yeah, well, you got a $50 deductible now, so, and the only time the deductible doesn't come into play unless the service is done. Preventive is always paid at 100% no deductible. So the only time that deductible is going to come into play is if you need a denture crown or filling. Now, the question I have is, would you rather have a $25 deductible and a $1,000 maximum benefit if you need a $1,500 crown, or would you rather pay that extra $25 and get a full benefit if you need a crown? And, you know, there is a trade-off for that.
Yeah, the crown is still covered at 50% either way.
The crown is covered at 50%, but, you know, if you get a crown put on, what's it going to cost? You know, by the time they build it up and everything else, you know, you're probably looking at $1,800 for a crown, and if you have to have multiple crowns, I'm just laying out a scenario. That's one reason why we increased the benefit from 1,000 to 1,500 in that middle column, or 1,750, is to get enough benefit there to cover those situations that do occur.
Yeah, understood.
Okay, vision. Vision insurance, currently you're correct with VSP. And again, we are utilizing standard. I brought you 3 options, 3 alternatives with standard, using VSP, the Vision Service Plan. And if you go across the columns, it's a $10 for an annual exam, $10 for copay for materials. And it's all 4 of the plan options are the same. Single vision, bifocal, trifocal, lenticular, we're all paid at 100% after that $10 copay. The difference is going to come in with the elective benefits. Your current plan has got an allowance of $150 for frames and $150 for contacts. The alternatives we have are $180 for frames and or contacts, or on the far 2 left-hand column, up to as much as $200. Now, you're currently paying $26.86, or I should say the employees are, because it's a voluntary plan, and $50 for a single, and $57.75 for family. You can see where I've got the rates down to $10 for a single, or as high as $19.40 if you want to put in the employee spouse rate, $19.88. So for a family, $23. So the benefits are higher as far as the limit, and the rate is substantially less expensive. Now, where's the trade-off? How come we're all looking at VSP and where's the trade-off? The trade-off comes when you're looking at your specialty lenses. When you're looking at your no-line bifocals, or your photographs, or some of those other specialty lenses, your current plan will pay as much as 100% of those lenses. Your bike plan will pay a portion of the cost. It'll pay up to $45 to $50 for some of those options, rather than paying it at 100%. So there is a trade-off. That's one reason why your current plan is at $26.86. Now, what you got to keep in mind, though, is the difference between $26 and, let's just look at the one right next to it, $10.16. That's a cost of $16.50 per month less expensive, times 12 is what, about $180. So my cost is going to be $180 less, but your trade-off is, instead of having your specialty lenses, should you get specialty lenses, are not going to be paid at 100% like they might be with your current contract. If you you don't get specialty lenses, then you go contact. You know, the alternative plan going from 100 to 200, or excuse me, 180 up to as much as 200 per contact is substantially better than what the current plan is. And rate-wise, especially if you have to add a family, is substantially better. And then we can get an employee plus one rate down to $20 versus $57 for a husband and spouse in the current plan. Now, what's the difference? Well, if you go direct to VSC, Vision Service Plan, they can offer some internal options, such as those 100% coverages on specialty lenses that I can't get through standard insurance or Principal or Reliance Standard or any other number of companies that offer VSP. But it's still the same VSP plan, same VSP providers. It's just that the limits on the ones I'm offering are going to be higher and the rates are substantially less expensive. Oh, and if you look at the middle one, it's a 48-month rate guarantee also, 2-year rate guarantee, so not all of it. Any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Life insurance. Currently you've got, Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, currently you've got 2 life plans. One standalone and one through the medical plan, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, for a total of $25,000. You're paying $7.34 a thousand now. The life insurance through your medical plan is an option. It's through a company called Companion Life. You do not have to keep it. You can carve that out of your medical. But we're looking at $25,000 of life with standard insurance and a rate of 25 cents per thousand versus 29 cents. It's not a big savings, but it's $6.33 versus $7.34 per employee per month. So that's the alternative and option. So what we would suggest is you drop those 2 standalone coverages, put everything with standard. Now, do you see the trend I'm doing here though? Standard with the dental, standard with the vision, standard with the life insurance. Now you got one provider. You're not having to, Doug's not having to cut multiple checks to multiple providers, whether it's Delta Dental, VSP Direct, or whatever other insurances you might have. Now, the last time we were there, we also talked about voluntary life. Again, one of the commissioners, and I apologize, I don't remember which one, indicated that they thought we should, or the county should, offer a voluntary life program where the employees could have the ability to add additional coverage. I believe Doug even stepped up and said that he wanted to see something like this included. You'll notice that I've also got the standard insurance. This is voluntary. Voluntary means the employee pays the premium. They can take it or they cannot take it. In this day and age, the time when insurance agents go knocking door to door and say, let's sit down over the kitchen table and talk life insurance, it just doesn't happen anymore. Most of your employees, unless they've actually gone out and looked for it, the only optional life coverage they have is what you give them at work, at $25,000. So this gives them the opportunity to pick up in increments of $10,000 as much as an additional $300,000. Okay, so $10,000 up to as much as $300,000, and that's on top of the base plan that the county is already paying for them. The guaranteed issue amount is $100,000. Now think about that for a minute. if you've got anybody that has got cancer, heart attack, stroke, that is overweight, or any other infirmity, they may not qualify for an individual plan. They may not ever be able to get it. But through this guaranteed issue, the first 100,000, regardless of how healthy somebody is, they're guaranteed to get that 100,000. As long as they're actively at work. You could have had somebody that's terminal cancer, but as long as they're working, we're going to give them that 100,000. Now, if they want more than 100,000, then they have to complete a health statement. And they could get declined. It depended upon how healthy they are or their status. They could get declined, but they will always get that $100,000. Now, there isn't an open enrollment period. They have to do within the first 30 days. If they come back 6 months from now and say, I want the life insurance, they don't get the 100,000 guaranteed. They have to go through underwriting on all of them. So it's not an open policy that you get that 100,000 automatically anytime you want it. You can also see that you can add a spouse. So if an employee's married, they can add up to as much as $150,000 on their spouse with $10,000 guaranteed, and they can put as much as $10,000 on children from 2 to 10, and all of that is guaranteed issue. And that the cost for the life insurance is 20 cents per thousand, so 10,000 would be what, $2. So for $2, regardless if you got one child or 10, that same $2 covers them all for that 10,000. And it is age band. Let's just take a 40-year-old. It's 18 cents per thousand. So if I wanted $100,000 worth of coverage, it's $18 a month. And then if I move to the next age band, you see it's 28 cents per thousand. So it's pretty easy to figure out what the cost is going to be. But this is one of the things you would want us to do, is come up there and do employee meetings to re-communicate any of these changes to your employees and answer any questions or concerns. Question?
You guys have any more questions? I think you've gone through it sufficiently for everyone.
We should take a look at this life insurance. It looks to be considerably less premium, considerably less rate than what we reported here.
You show on your life insurance, the middle slide, I guess, that you have current and you have beam. Or you talked about standard, I thought, so I didn't know if that was a misprint or.
Was there a question there? I didn't catch it all.
You, in that middle slide for the basic life and AD&D, you have current and beam on the top, but I thought you were talking in regards to standard.
Yeah, we are talking about the standard. I don't know what you have in front of you. Beam is a very good company. Their rate is actually 22.5 cents per thousand, so it's less expensive for the same 25. The reason why we're recommended standard is just for continuity. Having the dental, the vision, the life, and the voluntary life all with the same carrier, then you're not cutting multiple checks.
What is standard per thousand? I don't have it from me.
Standard per thousand is 0.253, about 25.5 cents a thousand.
So it's not on here then, okay.
It might be the other attachment. I don't see it there.
Okay. Alrighty. Anyone else? Well, we appreciate you visiting with us.
Well, I appreciate your time. we do business, and we've said this before. Right now, we do business with 37 of the 66 counties in South Dakota. We're currently working with 10 counties right now. We are associate members of the County Commission Association. We will be in here for your meeting next Monday. So you will see us around. We've got a lot of business up in your area already, and we just asked for the opportunity to work with you. So as we speak, I'm trying to look for the Miller Dental Clinic, but I'm not finding it real quick. But I will send an email to Doug, like I said, before 5 o'clock yet. So. And if you have any questions, let us know.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, well, we probably need to make some kind of decision for budget purposes.
No,
Not necessarily. We got
it'll
another.
all go down. So,
Well, I got a question. We pay for that health insurance, or the life insurance, right? The vision and dental is 100% paid for by the employee, right?
I think we were really.
Doug just said 50 when we're talking before. For both.
Well,
vision and
I've got it on the bid, and I can tell you, when I got my last pair of glasses, I've got all the, well, I got no line Bible, because I tried to, and that, if you go, I mean, if you wear glasses, I'm not so sure the VSP in the long run, but I didn't know that the county pays half, right?
On dental and vision?
Yep.
$150 for grants. That's a reading law.
That's how much they'll pay.
That's how much they'll pay.
So if you buy $200 pair, frame, you're gonna pay
the
$50. Well, you're out of your goal.
And,
Actually,
Jim, all you got was 2 votes in the nose thing.
Didn't get much from my.
and the county pays 100% of the first 10,000 life insurance, is that correct?
yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah. Huh? The one is included with the health insurance, and then we pay $4.17. He said it was $7, so it's $4 to change. We pay for the companion cost.
Why do we not make a decision on this today?
We can't.
I mean, like you said, we're gonna put it off.
You can, if you wanna sit down and analyze it.
I don't like both of it. I don't know. Mike's life insurance stuff is certainly more expensive, but the rest of it is cheaper, really, for the most part, only $6. You know.
the difference size of the life insurance and then the larger benefit.
Right. But there's some other things that, for this. There's some
Yeah,
other things that-
originally it was supposed to be apples to apples. That's why I was surprised that he upped his thing, but I can understand why he did it.
But he also didn't have, within his, there wasn't orthodontics, there were certain things that he didn't have in there either, that,
Right.
so it's not really apple to apple, but. I would guess Mike has the option if we wanted to have the available life insurance in addition to on the employees that don't participate, just like, but I don't know about that.
Right.
I think so.
It just, the only thing Mike said is that it's easier to sell that voluntary life if you have, I think it was 13 people.
Participation. Because, I don't see why you wouldn't offer it, why we couldn't offer it, the cost is especially.
Right.
Especially like if they have the same one where, like that child one, that's a great program to me. For $2, you can, it's not a lot, but you can insure your kids for $10,000 for $2 a month, if you have 5 kids.
Right.
To me, it's a no-brainer, but. So, I don't know. You guys feel like you want-
Well, I'm gonna ask you to do a meeting somewhere in the 20s for the purpose of formally adopting the resolution that is the budget. If you want to, you can put off a decision on insurance until that time.
We just think, we feel like you can make a decision today.
Because if you have questions of the agents, you can submit those.
We can do
I'll do it.
Do you want more time to review it? Are you guys comfortable making a decision?
It's tough when you're not comparing apples and apples. But if we get more coverage for the $7, take more coverage, then do we have to have Mike come back and give that increased coverage?
On the life insurance or the dental?
Likely.
You can't let people do that.
Yeah,
You're talking about the deadline.
I feel like, because, yeah,
Do we feel that's a necessity? Do you feel like we should be offering 1,500? No, I don't
I
know.
don't know if you can get a crown at 1,500 anymore, but they're only covering half the legal.
Right.
But if when you write down something practice, well, now you're talking $3,000 for a crown.
Well, that's really all I had, so it's 5 years ago, $5,000.
Get a root canal and put a crown on it.
That
Well, you're talking real.
I'll tell you in 2 weeks with a new crown for
Sorry to hear that. Yeah. I
Well,
guess
you guys better decide on it.
We're gonna have to decide sooner than later.
I moved to the road.
You want
So that's to accept the proposal from Dice Financial.
for standard?
For the standard.
For standards,
Standard package.
the 15 or 25,000, like,
Are those options, or do you have one?
well, we currently have 15, but we talked about upping it to 25. It's just gonna be $3 more a month, but we're also saving.
We're saving enough.
So my opinion is 25.
Okay, so the 25,000 on life.
Yeah.
Any other variables? Okay.
To add life insurance if it's available. An option, that's what I think. If there's an add-on,
Okay.
option that you can,
The voluntary life.
yes. If employees want to participate, not to be paid by a county.
County will pay for that 25. If they wanna buy additional,
About that, too.
Any voluntary after that would be 100%
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Have a motion and a second to stay with Dice, but move to the standard policies and increase the life to 25,000 with additional voluntary life insurance.
As an
Paid
option.
by employees if they so choose.
If it is not.
If it's not, then they so choose.
And the county's going to cover the life insurance premium for 25,000.
The base 25,000. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Who moved? Jim? Joe, right? Dan seconded?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Budget hearing.
Yeah, essentially that's what it is. The only modification that I've made since you saw it last is that Jim pointed out that I had the custodian's gasoline and the diesel fuel budget numbers swapped, so I changed those just before the meeting.
I move that we approve the provisional budget.
I was second.
Have a motion and a second to approve provisional budget. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, what day would you like to meet at the end of the month to pass the resolution of the proposed budget and make it the budget for 2023?
You said 20? Early 20?
Unless you want to do it sooner, but we got conference this week, so that's why I didn't pick it, but I also need to advertise it, so we'll probably, I could get it in this week yet, and then the 10th.
What's the reason we need to do it before the 4th?
First of October.
Okay, so our next meeting is after that.
Right.
20th.
I think it's just a,
Everybody? Is it 20 work for everybody?
Yeah.
has to be.
Notices be 10 days. So, February 10th, the first thing we had is.
My preference would be to have it in here.
Like the 26th, 7th.
It ain't gonna take long. I mean, the only other thing we have on there is something you wanna carry over from this meeting.
Not the 27th.
We had something with Jeff, did we did?
Yeah, that's
It's not the 27th.
Who's gonna bring it?
That one is on the county, township.
How about the 25th?
20,
I can do the 25th.
No, wait, 25th,
Yeah,
26th.
can do that too.
I can do that too.
I'm okay with the 26th, so.
How does this work?
What time? What time? Evening?
7 p.m.
6:30, 7?
No, it's saying that if you said 8 to 5 o'clock, it won't be one.
Serious? Cause you get hungry?
Let's set.
I think that's it.
Let's see how that works.
What do you guys think, time wise?
7.
7? That work for everyone?
It's gonna be pretty short.
26, that's Rosa,
Oh, that's more than I knew.
Maybe we're not done that day.
Okay.
Send a reminder.
Send a
Yeah.
Okay,
7 o'clock then?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we strike the JD outlots from the list of flats? That you're about to.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, we'll start with the Willow lot 1 and 2. It sounds like everything was in order. We obviously went through all this already, so.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion second, any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You don't want to go to the roll call, do you? Yes?
Yeah, but if they all talk so I can hear them.
Okay. Dan? Aye. Luke? Aye. Greg? Aye.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Same as we had before.
Yeah, my glasses.
Vivo addition.
Oh.
Second.
Motion is second. Dan?
Aye.
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 Good. Bottom addition.
Move.
Second.
Dan?
Aye.
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 Scratching the fanning on a lot.
Yes,
Motion
yeah.
approved.
Make motion for the
Short position. Motion second. Dan?
Aye.
Aye.
Not participating.
All but Jim.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything on the high pressure hazardous materials.
No actions there, I can see. Commissioner work period.
I don't know of any.
The only thing I guess I wanted to mention was I know we've talked before about all the clutter, all the items to be surplus. So,
That is one of the things on there.
oh, that is on your thing?
No, this is the stuff that they gave us that needed to be completed.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one of the things that need to be completed, so I guess I would encourage, and I think you got that list, when you go to your department, whatever your liaison do, we need to go through talk to each one about what they need to have corrected for insurance. And then also tell them to get on the ball with the surplus items, so we can get that stuff out of it. We don't need to have clutter and junk sitting around all over the place. So tell them to get a list put together specifically and get it to you. Get it done. So let's get this stuff cleaned up.
And Jeff told me right now he's planning on having a public auction for some of the bigger items.
Okay.
That's usually in October.
Just so we can get some stuff cleaned up. We don't need to grab something. So if you do that before we'll hand that out. Okay, I don't have any more myself. Anyone else have anything else they want?
He's on the road, so I'm not
Anything else? Other work for you, anyone have anything? Okay. Okay, Doug.
Okay, the ARPA, I completed the renewal of the SAM registration, which is just a technicality. I submitted the request for the second tranche, which is basically a pull down of the second set of funds. It hasn't been approved yet, but I expect it to be. Levy season just simply means that we're transitioning from budget season to levy season, so I'll start compiling what the levy results are based on the requests from the schools, the cities, townships, and the county, and the whole fire district. So you might see some discussion on that. The cybersecurity, as I told you guys earlier, project boundary fence is approved. Our thing, apparently my original application to it last year at the state conference didn't register 100%, so I just redid the whole thing and they approved it right away. So I expect that to start here fairly soon. Safety benefits do their property inspections, made several recommendations on how to eliminate those. As far as decluttering goes, if you would look at these 3 items, the gen number is my internal number, it makes it easier for me to find it back. This is an HP desktop. The serial number is actually faded off of it so poorly that I can't read it. The other one is a compact desktop, it was bought in 1997, but hasn't been used for probably 15 years. And the other is a dot matrix printer that accompanies that compact desktop. and it was used solely for elections. So if you would please approve those as surplus property,
Make a motion,
please.
move to declare those three items surplus.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Hold same sign. Motion carried.
The direct deposit, Luke, we need a form from you. Basically, we got it set up, there was a few glitches in it, so it's kind of a good thing that it didn't go through in full effect. We used 2 test employees, myself and Jim Peter, we both got our paid remotely, so in October we'll be good to go. And then, the new per diem,
You have all employees for that, but you're confident you can get those.
pretty sure.
Kind of like the safety flags.
No, this has been a little better than that.
You don't get paid if it's not here?
Yeah.
They're gonna say.
I would think so.
Okay, up on the screen are the Board of Administration, Bureau of Administration sets the mileage rates. And currently our policy says that we mirror these. And so I just wanted to make sure that that is still your policy. And so it's 41 cents prior to this, and now it's 51 cents. The difference that you see here is that it talks about the use of a private vehicle versus a state-owned vehicle. And so the question I have for you, do you want to apply that to county as well? Because we have county vehicles that can be used. We have that white car, and then Shane also has a silver car that can be used. Basically what it does is it cuts the mileage reimbursement in half. So you're only either paying, think of it as you're paying half the rate or paying it one way, sort of both ways. Or you can just choose to leave that part of this out of it. But the rest of it deals with the meals and the miles.
Do we have a lot of problem with people wanting to take a personal vehicle and another one available? Is that a concern?
Some of them would just prefer to take their own.
Right.
75 is the state rate on the motels these days.
That is the state allowance.
Where are they saying that 75 now?
I don't know. Somebody's how they put it wrong in the hotel out here a week ago for 110. When I say we,
Yep.
Preachers Ministerial Association.
Yeah.
So no one here said.
No, most of the time, like the host for the conference, they negotiate a contract price and get a block of rooms, and it's nowhere close to that.
There's several hotels that want under six rated anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And like, taking up $99.
Yeah. I paid $110.
Yeah.
Do we have
I just leave it the way it is, in my opinion, I guess.
Okay, well, the way it is right now is you would follow this administrative rule, which includes those items. You want just mileage, just basically, if you drive your car, it's 51 cents. And the meals the way they are here.
What is the meal rate change for out of state as opposed to?
Food is so much more expensive in Minnesota. Luckily, we don't have a lot of out-of-state travel.
You know what a cheeseburger is? Let yourself for $15.
You can eat dinner for that much.
We've got breakfast and
You can stay in a culvert.
We've got breakfast at 10 in South Dakota, where you get independent breakfast, or at $6, I mean, I don't know where you get independent breakfast for $6.
So for what is, that's out of state.
McDonald's breakfast.
They're out of state. I think it's twice.
There you go. What was it before?
Supposed to mirror it, I guess we gotta approve it.
Well, you don't have to. You can say everything except the half price mileage if you want to drive your own car, or the lodging. I mean, honestly, you're not going to find lodging for $75.
Doug, are there a lot of things that people are needing lodging, but aren't a part of the group that is negotiated with lower rates?
No.
There aren't very many like that.
No.
So very few people would end up enforcing any kind of difference.
Right. Okay. So adopted then?
Yes. Need a motion?
You can formalize it with a motion.
Motion from Jim
Second.
Jones. Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, as far as the election goes, how many of you noticed the Nate's new flag in the corner?
What flag?
Flag. It's a 14-foot feather flag. Its purpose is to go at each of the polling places because some of the feedback from people was that they didn't know where the polling places were.
What does it say?
Go here.
Vote.
Yes. And so
It's one we curved out.
it is. Basically, I looked at buying the 4x8 sheets. They're several $100. I get these for $40. So I think that should work for that range.
Who makes these?
I got them at this small flags go lower.
They're everywhere.
Yes. But then Jim Peters also gonna loan me his inflatable dancing thing.
This funny looking guy?
Yep. So anyway, so where we're at, absentee voting begins 45 days prior to the election, which is September 23rd. There's still a lot of concerns about absentee voting and how it's conducted. There's a lot of people working on that. We're lucky we only have 2 ballot styles. We have Commissioner District 5 with 1 ballot style because it contains that race, and the entire rest of the county shares 1 ballot style. So we're actually going to save some money on printing because we just have the 2 styles. The voter information portal is available to people 24/7, 365. If you just search for South Dakota Voter VIP, it'll take you there. You can also see the 2022 election calendar, which describes the dates and plans that I follow. Basically, it's my Bible for the election season. I checked into publishing legals in the neighboring newspapers. So, for example, the Highmore Herald has 47 subscribers in our county. The Republican Record has 100 subscribers in Polo Orient. They weren't able to break my heart by county. Redfield Press has 22 subscribers. So my question to you is this something that you want me to do where I post these election labels in those neighborhood newspapers? It depends on the brand. It would mirror the sheet charges, right? Because that's set by.
It's set by the
Few hundred bucks.
It depends on the length, the size of the material. So like at some point, we published the ballot. It's probably the single most expensive one, but in those we don't have to publish the ballot. We publish in those neighboring ones where the polls are. Dates.
If we don't change anything, we sort of agree we're not going to, right?
Yes.
And how people have figured out where this was going.
I had
Would be wasting money by paying for that.
I had a Miller resident in this morning who was upset. So I can't answer that.
Did they vote right?
If they were on that, went to a poll and found out they were somewhere else.
Well, they should learn.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But they know where they're you know, we knew there would be problems. We probably didn't anticipate as many gripes as we had. But I think by now, most people have figured out where they're supposed to go. Obviously, we're going to have a few gripes about the residents in Miller Township and the east part of town that have striped at Sunshine unless they choose to vote in it. I know it kind of goes back to that tradition of voting at the poll on election day is important to
A lot of people. I guess I don't know, we need to personally, but if you feel the need, I guess then.
Well, I look at the numbers of subscribers, and I feel pretty confident that the bulk of the Highmore Herald people probably also get the Democrats. And it's probably most likely people that live right along the border that read stuff that is in Highmore Herald. The Fall County ones, I would guess most of those are probably Orient. zip code people, or, I guess that's called it too. The 22 subscribers to the Redfield Press, I kind of expected that to be a bigger number.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
I would expect there to be more there than what County one.
Right. So to me, there wasn't a great deal of change for the people that were in zip codes. There the only 2 of those townships that they were impacted, and I didn't get a lot of complaints from the whole. Maybe the workers did, they didn't share them, but I didn't personally get them like that. And then the Highmore Herald ones, again, if they are residents along the border, I mean, I would think it's pretty fresh with what's going on over here. So if I do, the only one that I would consider is probably doing the Redfield one. Just because of the people who played of the whole township changed where they have to go to battle. So if I were to make a recommendation, I would say that. Publish the ones related to polling places and direct threats.
I'd leave it up to you, if you feel the need, I would do it. That's my opinion.
That's choice. You come up for something. Okay, I also looked at, and Arlen referred these people to me, so I had to go looking for them. A texting platform where you can dilate and tell you go to a certain number to get notifications. So I had a small presentation with these people. It was $4,500 to set it up the first year, $3,500 after that. After Arlen come back from fighting fire, I'm like, hey, tell me about alert sense if we do this. And so I've actually been running a test for the last week, and it works just fine. So to be honest with you, I can't justify asking for money to do that because I think we can do everything except the shortcut 8-digit phone number using a platform that we already paid for.
Is that what I have on my phone? I used to have
Alert sense.
Free?
That was Nixon. Nixon was free. And you can shortcut for those.
Well, it's free for you.
Yeah, as a resident, you can sign up for alert sense for free. It costs us money. Nixel didn't cost us. Okay, we talked about the new flags to help people locate their way in there. My next item is the election worker for me. The reason that I'm bringing this up now between 2 elections is because as I see people who work elections, I've been visiting with them about whether they're willing to work. Most of them, yes. Some of them are a little concerned because of just the complexion of elections. It's hostility at polling places. Some of them are still a little on the fence. And secondly, when they did a comparison, which is this chart, as to what they're making now, what that translates into hourly, because I think the assumption was always made that it was a 12-hour day, but that's not true. When I talked to the poll workers, most of them arrive an hour, half an hour to an hour ahead of the polls opening. And most of them stay late, and 2 of them drive here to the courthouse for that. And so really, realistically, it's a 14-hour day, which makes their pay $11.78. My proposal is to raise it, excuse me, to $225 per day, which is a $15 an hour equivalent. The precinct superintendent, who has a lot more responsibility than the 2 deputies, I would like to move from that $14, that's $165, to $252, which translates into $18 an hour. And then the people that come in at night and do the tabulation work, presently they get paid $35 broken over 4 hours. They were getting $8.75. I'd like to raise them up to $60, which would be $15 per hour.
Do those figures bear some resemblance to what other surrounding counties?
We're still behind.
We're behind?
Yeah.
Even at those rates?
Yeah. Yep. During COVID, almost every other county took a pretty significant jump in what they were paying. There's no, it's very anecdotal because not everybody just furnishes that information to people, so you gotta kind of just put feelers out and see what's going on. Or you can go to the subsequent public notices and sort through legals and so that they get paid.
You're saying you're struggling to find workers?
Keep.
Keep.
Yeah.
I would move that we adopt your new election day worker compensation table.
You don't want me to do the rest?
We can see.
Okay. Well,
I think you put a lot of thought into it.
yeah, I want these people to know that what they do is greatly appreciated. I want them to know how important it is, and I do think it's gonna make a difference when I'm trying to recruit people to return. You know, here at the poll here in town, not to interrupt your motion, we had a voter that showed up, thought he was in a different party. He was registered as Democrat, he wanted to vote in an election of the Republican candidates. Yeah, he threw an absolute fit. Like, not a small fit, a big, loud fit, threw the ballot back at the workers. I mean, it's, someone just said, I'm not doing it again. If we have one more person like that, I don't want to experience it.
There's Bolivians out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just rolled back to that guy, because he didn't check to see what it was for his election. But the rest of them got punished for it. Got a motion?
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Second, any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Hold same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, the provisional budget, we talked about that. What I do now is we get the growth figures from the utilities, which represents railroad, phone companies, Northwestern Public Service, and then we'll calculate the growth. As of right now, the county's growth across the board without the utilities is 0.04%, so it's not huge. It's not gonna have a huge impact on our budget. Typically, the utilities for what they invest back into, they get credit for, so their taxes traditionally are quite low anyway. So when we come back, you're going to see a levy that's based on the request as it is right now, and it will also consider, the one right now considers CPI, but the next one will have the growth as part of it. So you might actually see from that worksheet to the next worksheet that it actually goes.
Will we see that at 26?
Yes.
4.
26. It has to be part of that resolution. And then I don't have any correspondence from you that I didn't already include in the agenda. I think that leaves you with executive sessions. And my care for the poor is quite fast. So if we can do that first.
On the emergency thing.
Yes.
Is it possible, or maybe, I don't think it's legal, is there a way maybe make a flyer at the election poll?
Oh, absolutely.
Or something like that?
Yep, yep. And the other thing we did is Jan did some posters for me about registering early because there was a deal with the driver's licensing. I don't know who filed the suit, maybe the ACLU or somebody, but they're saying that some people were denied access to registering when they're getting their licenses. So I made these pink, I had made these pink signs to draw attention to it so that people knew that they could register to vote or change their registry 24/7, or not 24/7. 365 days a year, conceivably. When it's holidays, some holidays. So that was part of it. I also ran the 13-week ad in the,
It's in search directory.
service directory.
We've kind of been having a little fun with it, and we've been just on a column, we just replaced them there, we're going to too.
Yeah, one,
Just at no cost to you guys, just, you stand for that one, and we just kind of, we want it to be right, we want people to know how to do it, so we're just trying to help.
yeah. So the goal is just every time you look somewhere, you're going to see the quick voter registry up to date. And then we did one more thing. We forgot. Okay. Okay.
And just to let you guys know, after the last election, I picked up about 10 subscribers.
Did you?
And 3 of them were specifically due to legals and voting
Okay.
issues. So the rest of them didn't say that, but I did have 3 that specifically said that's what they did. And one came in the day of the election where, why wasn't it some paper? Where's my paper? It ran out of years.
Right.
So,
Okay, well, I have a motion to go into executive session. Motion with a second, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same
Could I
sign.
ask a brief question before we do that? The elevator committee. Can you guys meet tomorrow afternoon with, me and Tish and Randy about advertising for bids? They're available